Hey, you're listening to Wrestling Roundup on Free FM 89.0. This is Grady Hooker, and as always, live on Skype, we got Josh.
Yeah.
So, we're going to start off on Raw, as we always do, but it was a special edition of Raw. It was USA Day, July 4th, and of course, as with all good celebration parties in WWE, a food fight begins.
Yeah, it looked like they had a lot of fun with that segment.
It wasn't just your general throwing food around. You had, like, Fandango was putting cream on himself. You had Apollo Crews and... I'm blanking. Cesaro arm wrestling through the entire thing. Everybody was just having fun, and I think that was the point.
Yeah, the only person who didn't look like they were enjoying themselves was Zack Swagger. I don't know what it was, but it just didn't look like he wanted to be doing it.
I'd also
Everybody
argue,
else just like they were having a blast.
I'd also argue that Heath Slater, once he went through the table, didn't look like he was enjoying that the most. But yeah, I see what you're saying. He just seemed to be there. And I guess that's what they shoved most of their talent out there, so he was probably just filling a spot, being there. I don't know. I feel like in an industry like the WWE with wrestling and how it's always so stressful and everything, you're working 6 days a week, you're putting your body on the line constantly. Surely it's got to be fun to just go out there and film a food fight in the morning, or whenever they filmed it.
Yeah, I think it just gave him maybe a release on it, just to give him something different to do for a change, and just let him let loose. I especially loved Kevin Owens in this segment. He hides underneath the table and eats a bag of chips, and then he comes out and thinks it's all over with, and then he gets hit by a pie.
Yeah. It's just fun. And I don't live in America, but I'm going to assume that's what July 4th celebrations are meant to be over there. Just fun. And, setting off fireworks and blowing up stuff. That's America, right? Just fireworks every time. Fireworks and barbecues. And big hats.
Yeah, that's America. America in a nutshell.
But also, along with these July 4th festivities, we did end up with a main event at the end where it was essentially Team USA versus Team everybody else.
And you had some interesting pairings.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
We had heels and faces on both teams coexisting temporarily to fight for the pride of their nation. I'm sure that's the kayfabe way around it. It was always obvious that Kevin was going to screw over Sammy as well.
And vice versa.
Yep. Again, just a fun match. There was no, as far as I could tell, heavy bits about it. Zack Ryder and The Big Show end up winning, of all people in the world.
Yeah, once Jack Swagger was eliminated, I knew that Zack Ryder was going to be a survivor.
It had to be.
And it pissed me off.
But America won. America beat all of those other multinational alliance members.
Honestly, if I was going to book this, I would have put it earlier in the show and had the non-Americans win it, because then I would have also had the American win the United States Championship.
Yeah.
As the main event.
How'd that go?
Yeah, that didn't exactly work out.
Titus O'Neil ain't having the best of luck.
No, when it was the opening match, I knew Titus was not winning the title.
You always send the crowd home happy, you don't start them off happy. And Rusev just did that, he just beat Titus again. Simple as that. Are we going to see any new matchups coming yet, or are we just going to see another Titus Rusev heading into Battleground? Because really, this is the point where you've got to start changing it.
I've heard a rumor that the next opponent for Rusev will be Darren Young.
I don't mind it. It seems to make sense as well, especially with Bob Backlund as his life coach. I'm still waiting to see Darren come back out into the ring and just seeing if Backlund's going to come with him or if he's just going to stay coaching or what.
Who knows? But Darren was given the cross-face chicken wing.
Yep.
In the latest venue.
I'm just hoping that it's not going to be a lot of build for nothing. And really that's all I can hope, but with the WWE, you get that a lot. You can have 16 video packages come out for some dude's debut, and then it be lackluster, and then they pull out one day after. It's very fickle. I'm hoping, since it has the involvement of Backlund, and it's not just vignettes for a single superstar, that we can at least get some payoff. You can imagine that all of this build-up, and then Darren Young gets back in the ring, and he gets squashed by Rusev a few times and moves on. It's not really a payoff at all for sitting around through these vignettes. I guess another example of that is the Shining Stars right now, where they were on vignettes for like 2 months, had one in-ring match, and now they're back on vignettes. I don't know what they're trying to do with these guys. I'm pretty sure the only thing that we hazarded was that they were waiting for the draft, and that they were going to bring Carlito back for the draft and pair them up, and that's what they were waiting for. I don't know. Crazy ideas come up when you sit around and just talk.
Yeah, then who knows? It may be that there's no point to the Shining Stars other than as a promotional tool for Puerto Rico.
True. And I was talking about crazy ideas just before we get into the song. It's crazy, but still possible. What is it called? Conspiracy theory going on right now that Cody Rhodes' release is all a part of a larger work. It gets a little confusing to follow at times, but it has that
surprise
believability.
Me, but at the same time, I think it would.
Yeah. I think the thing that would surprise me is not that they did it, that they pulled it off. Just because, like, whenever people's favorite superstars leave the company, people always sit around for like 3 months saying that it's a work and that they're going to come back. There's a little bit of evidence on this one, not much. Really, the only evidence is he hasn't done matches with the big competitors and stuff. But, I don't know. We'll see what happens. If it does happen and Cody does come back, be quite awesome. And as I said, pulling it off now with the social media the way it is and the chance of a leak, at the moment it's still very much a pipe dream, but if somebody comes out who's credible and says 100% this is what's going to happen, then I can count that as a little bit destroyed. So I'm gonna put it in the would love to happen, but I don't expect to basket.
And that's a fair basket to put it in.
There is a lot of things in that basket. There are many, many things. So we'll go into our classic song. Is there a connection, or are you just picking random songs again?
I forget what I picked.
You picked Conan's WCW theme, and then later on we're going to be playing the Lucha Dragons.
Oh, just because they're Mexican.
Happy 4th of July with these two Mexican themes. And you're back with Free FM 89.0, Grady and Josh. Something I did notice, I don't know if it aired on Raw, I was watching it on YouTube. They put out a Baron Corbin video package, trying to hype him back up.
Did.
Hype. I noticed they used like one shot from his Dolph Ziggler feud.
Yeah, it's they're going to, from what I understand, they're going to reunite on him after the brand extension. After the draft. So
to me, watching it, it seemed as though this video package was almost a restart, like a factory reset. Oops, we did this feud with Ziggler. It wasn't the best. Let's reset him. We're playing a lot of clips from him at WrestleMania when he won the trophy. We're playing a lot of clips of the night after Raw. His audio bites there. It almost seems as though we're just trying to forget the Dolph Ziggler feud, move in like he's a new dominating monster, like a week after he just finished his feud with Dolph Ziggler. If anything, we can at least be glad that this means that his feud with Ziggler's over.
oh no, he's going to be facing Dolph Ziggler.
No. Just no. We're all sick of it at this point, and I'm hoping with the brand extension he can be a solid upper mid superstar, especially if he goes on to the SmackDown side of things. I just imagine Raw is still going to be fairly clustered. We've posited Kane, we've posited Big Show, we've thrown out plenty of names of people who he can feud with, and can afford to let Corbin go over. I think Corbin needs to just get a little bit of momentum rolling. It's not like the crowd were dead for him at the start. I'm ignoring the Dolph Ziggler feud when I'm talking about Corbin. There was fairly solid boos from those who knew him and other guys who could figure out very quickly that he was a big jack-A. So I don't know. I hope for Corbin's sake, and I hope for everybody's sake, just because Corbin is a fairly decent talent, that this can just reset him, and we can have the Corbin character we wanted. Fingers crossed. Might have to put that in the I hope it'll happen but it won't basket. But if we're talking about returns, a certain former general manager decided to grace us with their presence.
Yeah, we missed Vicky.
But that crowd did not, apparently.
No.
That was an awful crowd last night.
Yeah. Vicky, in her heyday, especially as general manager, was the most under person there is ever, and generated the most amount of heat a person could with a single 2 words before even stepping out from the curtain. And she was a great heel authority figure. Last night, it didn't go well. I think, especially for a heel authority figure, the major point with them is that they get a reaction, and it didn't. I don't know what else to say.
That crowd was awful. Even John Cena couldn't save that crowd last night.
And John Cena can save everything.
And he pointed it out to them. And they couldn't take a hint.
Yeah, you get those occasionally. It's really a balance between those sorts of crowds, and then you've got your sorts of crowds that will just chant for whatever the hell they want to in the middle of a match. And then you want that just nice middle ground. I'd argue that you want a Canada or a Japan type crowd, where they're just very vocal, but very vocal towards the competitors in the ring. Very vocal purely with cheering and booing. So if you're a bad guy, you will be just drowned out with boos. You know, just a nice crowd, not a crowd going into business for themselves, but also not a crowd that is entirely dead. But you can't always hit that nice middle ground, for whatever reason. So, we'll go into our current entrance theme. It's the Lucha Dragons, and be warned, the song does start off with like 2 hours of the guy just saying Lucha over and over and over. That's just how it happens. And you're back with Wrestling Roundup, Free FM 89.0, Grady and Josh. So, 2 big 6-man feuds to talk about. We'll talk about the Wyatt's New Day first. Xavier Woods is leaning on the side of let's get serious.
Yeah, something's definitely tweaking at him.
I'm not sure if we're going to play this off as Xavier Woods wants to get serious and wants to eventually lead into at least him maybe breaking away or New Day dissolving altogether, or if they're going to just say that he's under the, it's not demonic intervention of Bray Wyatt still. I can see them playing that, where Bray's just gotten into his head and planted the seeds of doubt and everything, and then the New Day are just going to save him miraculously and turn him back to normal Xavier. I can see both coming out of this. The New Day could stay together and the New Day could break up. I think people have been calling the New Day breakup for a while now. I'm not personally a fan of it. I don't know. I feel like the New Day gimmick still has a little while in it.
But there comes a point when it's, you don't want to overdo something.
True. Well, hey, how about this? Stay together for 45 more days until you come to the New Zealand tour, and then once you've done that, do whatever you want. It's all yours. You can break up. That's all I'm asking. But yeah, I think Xavier, it's going to be a slow break. I don't think it's going to be quick, fast. So it might even go to SummerSlam. Have they announced the Battleground match between these two teams yet?
I don't think so.
Okay. I could see Battleground match being a tag team match, and then maybe the 6-man at SummerSlam, just so they don't have 2 6-mans on the same card, and then at that point possibly break Xavier off. I don't know. It depends on what the draft does for them as well, in terms of sending them their separate ways, whether we're having 2 tag titles, that sort of stuff. A lot up in the air right now, and a lot that the draft can change.
We're just 2 weeks away.
2 weeks. It always felt like so long away, and now it's creeping up. We go straight from the draft, straight into Battleground, and then fairly soon after that, New Zealand tour, and then soon after that, straight into SummerSlam. Things are starting to roll. And I think the draft is going to be either really good or really bad for a lot of people. And one person I hope it's really good for, this isn't part of our topics, is Kalisto. We just played Lucha Dragon's song. Please split them and have Kalisto go singles for a long time. But the last topic on the list is, if you'd told me a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, that John Cena would be in a feud with AJ Styles and the Bullet Club and have Enzo and Cass come down for the save and teaming up with him, I'd have said you were crazy. There's no way I would have expected this 6-man feud to come out of nowhere.
And nobody saw it coming last night when it happened.
No.
Everybody was expecting Randy Orton to come save him.
If only the crowd wasn't so dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy to think.
It's the old adage. You can lead the crowd to water, but you can't make them drink.
Yep. It's crazy to think where all these guys have come from. They've essentially all taken different paths, really. And now they're all meeting together. I don't know what way it's going to go either. I fully still thought that we were going to have Cena AJ a second one-on-one with the rubber match at SummerSlam. I thought that for a very long time. So to give him a 6-man here, I don't know what we're going to do at SummerSlam now. I assume we're going to have the one-on-one with everybody barred from ringside, but I don't know which way it's going to go. Maybe that's the point. I don't know.
You know, it is possible that, and this is an interesting proposal. They're going to bring back the second world title. That's crystal clear.
Yep.
Why not do a tournament for SmackDown or Raw or whatever title the WWE Championship's not going to be on?
Yep.
And have the finals be at SummerSlam between John Cena and AJ Styles.
Done.
And have AJ Styles win the championship.
Write that down on a piece of paper, scrunch it up, and throw it straight into my I'd love to happen, but I don't see it happening basket. I'd love to see AJ. I think AJ can run as the second World Heavyweight Champion, or whatever they're going to call the second champion. I think he can do it perfectly fine, especially if we're going to leave the WWE title with some former Shield members and doing feuds there. He's possibly the most logical choice. I just don't want the factory reset of going back to John Cena. So I guess we'll see where that goes. But I'm happy for that to happen. A tournament is always a good thing. It's better than just handing the title over to someone, or a couple of people staking claim and doing a one-on-one. So that makes sense to me. So we've got about a minute.
Yeah, I think the more likely outcome is some convoluted finish will happen with Battleground match.
Yep.
And whoever isn't the WWE champion, the other person in that convoluted finish will be awarded the World Championship.
Fair enough. So we've got about 30 seconds. Brock Lesnar's SummerSlam opponent will be announced on SmackDown, which happens to be the day we record, which means by the time this airs, it will have already been out. We're just going to pretend it was Randy Orton like the rumors said.
It probably is.
Looking forward to Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. It'll be an interesting match depending on whether Brock wins at UFC 200 or not, so.
Yeah, it's even, I'm more interested in if Lesnar will even be awake by the time SummerSlam comes along.
Fair enough. It's been great talking to you.
Bye-bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wrestling Roundup Radio, our Twitter page, twitter.com/Wrestling Radio. And I'll see you next week.